In this video, we're going to discuss the requirements for electricity, plumbing, and gas in your new kitchen island. It's something to think about before you start your first build process. So before we get to any of our finished product, we want to know if we are required or do we need to have utilities in our island. This should be something you should think about even before you put the first 2x4 in your saw, before you really even do anything else in regards to building any part of the island. So ask yourself, do I want or do I need or is it required to have any utilities, gas, electric, plumbing in my kitchen island? And the short answer is yes, some of it's required, no, some of it's not required. You need to know this before you get started. Now you're probably really asking yourself, wait a minute, Tony, you don't have any of those things in the island that you showed us. There's no cooktop, there's no gas, there's no outlet, so that means there's no electrical, and you haven't shown us a sink, so we know there's no plumbing in there. So which one is required, which one isn't required, and why do you not have the one that's required on your kitchen island? Well, in order to answer that question, I'm going to back up a little bit. A couple of years ago, I had to do a remodel on this kitchen, and the island was not present. It was thought about, but it was not present. There was never an island, there was never a permanent island. We had a mobile rolling island, and it did not have any electrical, plumbing, or gas in it at the time. So we went ahead and put our flooring back in with the idea that maybe we would build an island, but with no guaranteed plan in place. So I didn't want to stub up any plumbing, I didn't want to stub up any electrical or gas without the realization that we would actually even use it. So I didn't. So we're on a slab, and that's the reason that decision was made. If I was on a crawl space or if I was on a basement, my decision would be a lot easier, and for the required plumbing, electrical, or gas, I could easily do those things. Being on a concrete slab, not so easy, and this was my decision. I highly suggest that you follow all local codes and regulations. Don't skip out because you think you're above that. Again, I made my decision, you make yours. In the comments below, tell me which one you think is required. Electrical, plumbing, or gas. It's pretty simple if you Google it, I guess, but let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if you've noticed it so far, but I've shown you many different island setups throughout the progress of this video right now. If you haven't noticed it, back it up, rewatch it again, and see what the consistent thing is throughout all the pictures that I've shown you that's in every one of them except for my island. You'll pick up on it pretty simple and pretty quick, but I bet you weren't paying attention the first time you watched through. So go back, rewatch it again, and tell me what you see that is consistent through all the other pictures except for my island, and that'll be your answer. And now I'm going to give you the reason why it's required. According to the NFPA 70, the National Electric Code 2017, Section 210.52, subsection C, subsection 2, island countertop spaces. At least one receptacle shall be installed at each island countertop space with a long dimension of 600 millimeters or 24 inches or greater and a short dimension of 300 millimeters, 12 inches or greater. So what does this mean? This means out of all the utilities that you have in your house, the only one that's required for your island is electricity in the form of an outlet on one side. It's pretty simple and straightforward. You're not required to have but one sink in the kitchen, so if your sink's in the other countertop, you don't have to put a sink in here, and you're not required to have gas in your house at all, so that makes both of those, kind of puts both of those out of play here. But electricity is required. This is a convenience thing to keep you from using drop cords and things of that nature across your kitchen to get to your island. Now, there are some caveats here. If you put a sink or you put a range in the middle of that island and the space behind that range or that sink is 12 inches or less, you have now split the island in two per the code, and each side of that island, the countertop spaces on each side of the island are now separate countertop spaces, and you will be required to put an outlet on each side to service those countertop spaces. Here you see this builder decided to put outlets on both sides of the island, regardless of the space behind the sink, and that's just going above and beyond and giving the customer a little more than what the code requires, and that's always a good thing. Now that you know the requirements for the island, you can plan this early and you can get ahead of the game. So what do you got left to do now? Well, first thing you need to do is you need to watch the video I put out on how to get free plans to build this really cool island here that's really simple and probably take you less than a day, maybe 2 days at the most. And then you can watch the video where I put the quartzite countertop on top of the island. But the first thing you need to do is make sure you click the round subscribe icon here and watch these videos here so that you can get started making this really cool island for yourself. Thanks for watching, and please make sure you click the bell for notifications so that you'll get updated for each of my new videos.